I'm Sharon Kitzman, president of Dominion DMS. And today we're talking to Steve, who's the CEO of DriveCentric. Spoiler alert, he doesn't really know what a muscle car is. Well, welcome everybody. This is our first Dominion DMS video log, and we're thrilled today to be joined by Steve, who has a unique title that I'm going to have him explain in a minute, from DriveCentric. So Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yeah, you know what? Well, the Chief Evangelist Officer is my official title, which means I'm the cheerleader for the company. And that's really what it is. And I'll give Carrie Weiss a lot of credit. If you know Carrie Weiss over the years, I met her in Denver, Colorado, and I was always admiring the way she went out there and got up and spoke for her company. TrueCar back in the day. And that was what I always wanted to do with DriveCentric. So as we continue to grow, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of speaking engagements or panel discussions like this. So this is what I'm aspiring to do. And so I'm living my dream finally, like Carrie Weiss did. So, but no, my name is Steve Roessler, been in the auto industry 8 years. I'm a CRM engagement nut. I don't know how else to really say it other than that, but use CRM my entire career. I've been in 2 other industries, medical and engineering, and I would never take a job without a CRM. And so when I had the opportunity to come on board and be an owner of DriveCentric and, provide and sell a CRM in automotive, it was like a no-brainer.
That's excellent. I'll come back to that medical industry maybe a little bit later on, but there's a lot of CRM providers in our business, as I'm sure are in a lot of other verticals. What sets DriveCentric apart from the others in the eyes of your dealers?
Yeah, the way we're going out it, informing dealers, CRM, if we go out there and just kind of think what a CRM really is today, it's more known as a database management tool. They're going out there, they're hunting deals. It's a mining tool. And we've kind of changed the way we go out there and present it. I know this is going to sound crazy, but we really don't look at these other CRMs as a competitor. We're more of an engagement platform, and that's probably what sets us apart from all these other CRMs that were built over 20 years ago. I mean, I always say you'll get a kick out of this. If I ask you, is a Nokia phone a competitor to an iPhone? What would you say to that?
Probably not.
Probably not. That's the way we feel. I don't know how else to really say it, but all these platforms were built over 20 years ago on antiquated code. I don't know how in the world they could compete with like an iPhone type technology. So the game has changed, the customers have changed, and we are rolling and teaching our customers more about an engagement platform versus a database platform. But that's not to say that we're not a CRM. It's just CRM is one of the pieces of a larger puzzle that dealerships need to focus on. So, yeah. But that's the way we're going out there and attacking it.
I love that analogy. That's great. I might borrow that one.
Hey, there's a fee for that.
I have to say, in December, leading up to NADA, as we all are, in December, I spent a lot of time on the road. I visited with just about every OEM that we're certified with today, and a couple of dealers, as well as a couple of other partners like yourselves. And the term, the company name DriveCentric comes up over and over and over again. So you're doing something right out there. And a lot of people are rooting for you, as are we. Yeah, it's great. But as I mentioned, we've got this kind of broad set of solutions in the market, not just CRM providers. And I realize you're the iPhone version. But, on average, our research has shown that a dealer has somewhere around 15 unique software providers that they're using in their business somewhere. I think about the software that I use in my business. I certainly have a CRM. I certainly have an accounting package. And then we have several, technology solutions. But it doesn't add up to 15. I think about the challenge that it must be like for a dealer to try and make all of that work together.
Yep.
I'm just interested in your thoughts on that. If there's something that as a DMS provider, we could do differently to make it easier for the dealer, or the types of things that maybe your dealers grind their head against on a regular basis when they think about the software that they have to integrate together.
Yeah, no, that's a really good challenge out there. And I'll give you an example. Actually, it happened to me today. Sometimes, they put the cart before the horse, when they're going out there and looking for products. And I think this day and age, what we're trying to get our dealers to really be thinking about is, your CRM, and it doesn't matter what CRM it is it ought to be the actual nucleus of your business. And what is happening at your business has got to be in your CRM. Hopefully that's DriveCentric. But the partnership that you have to have as a dealer, partnership relationship with, especially with us, is we know who we are and we know what tools that you can eliminate and because of who we're not. So a lot of our stores, to your point, that we convert over, they are using maybe a different video provider. They're using a different chat provider. They're using an AI tool of some kind, and and so forth. The fact that we have these all built versus integrated, okay, that eliminates a lot of the breakage. Integration is typically known as a band-aid in software. It's not the end-all do-all. And I think that's what a lot of these other CRM tools are doing. And the dealerships just need to be educated on the difference between building and integrating. And I think if I was to give you a quick analogy, Shannon, I hope you like this one. If I said, "Hey, Shannon, you're coming over to my house. I just built out my expansion of my house. You come over. I have all these dealers over at my house. You come over and you come in. You see my expansion, and it's a double wide trailer on the back of my house." You'd be looking at me like, "What'd you do?"
Right.
And that's really a very silly analogy, obviously. But when people integrate, the foundation of the code, as you know, may not match the actual foundation of what other people are building. So therefore it becomes Band-Aid. And, if things break behind the scene, with other companies, that's just more troubleshooting you have to do. So at DriveCentric, like, for example, we're not a DMS. So that's why we have this great partnership. And if something happens between the pushes with the DMS, obviously, we know who to call, but we don't have to worry about like a video breakage because it's ours. It's built. We don't have to worry about an AI broken because it's built. So we limited a lot less, more Band-Aids because of who we know what we're going to build towards. But yeah, I mean, that's why it's great. We limited all the problems that could potentially happen.
Right. I talked to some users within the dealership, and oftentimes, they're lucky enough to be in a type of role where they are just in one of those tools. It usually is at the management level, right, where they're having to log in and out of multiple tools throughout the day in order to get their job done or do what their OEM has required them to do, or whatever it happens to be. And I'm looking for ways, right? I'm talking to people. I'm looking for ways to make that process easier, better workflows, richer data sets, possibly even something like a single sign-on between our platform and our partners are things that we talk about here anyway, to try and continuously evolve that challenge within the dealership.
Yeah, no, well, that's what's key, right? I mean, the less platforms, less windows. I mean, all these dealerships have umpty-nine Chrome windows up all the time. And that's typically because of all the different relationships they have with other vendors and the integration part. So yeah, we can absolutely be a huge part in showing dealerships on how to focus. I mean, they're still going to have windows up, but hopefully it went from 20 to hopefully 5 or something that nature. So there's still applications they got to do. Like, we're not a DMS, we're not an inventory provider, we're not a credit provider. So again, we minimized, and more importantly, all the salespeople that are using our tool, they have more ammo or more tools at their fingertips to go out there and communicate with customers on their behalf. And then if everything gets pushed inside the CRM from the salespeople, that's where it all starts. I mean, Shannon, the cliche, especially with any CRM, they say the best CRM is the one that's used. If we have a 91% usage rate on the mobile app, we're doing something right. And if they're pushing all that information over to the DMS, that's less double entry for, obviously, your F&I guys. So
That's right. That's right. For everybody, even the service department, when that vehicle comes back around, right?
yeah, absolutely.
So you keep saying I'm not a DMS. I am. I've been in this industry for 30 years, always with DMS providers. At the threat that I might be breathing my own exhaust, what's the piece of advice you have for a DMS provider to be able to make things easier for the dealers, make things easier for the third-party vendor partners that want to integrate to it?
Well, I just always think in terms of the DMS is a big part, and the biggest things that we have to do is make it a seamless integration for the dealerships from the CRM and to the DMS, whichever CRM they're on. I mean, you want to make it seamless, and you want to have a good partnership. I mean, that's what I think is key. We go out there and we look at partnerships with all, obviously DMS to make sure if there is an issue, we want to get a hold of you and we want to be able to correct the issue and be a problem solver with you. The other thing too is I think what's always critical from our side is, again, think of us working together as a team for a solution. Anytime you integrate, there's a blame game that goes on, unfortunately. So we have to keep the same synergies and keep the dealership in mind when providing a solution. But I think for us, the more stuff that we can push over to your side and make it seamless, that's what the dealerships want. They want a seamless transaction from the CRM to the DMS, and you guys do a great job with it.
So don't put the dealer in the middle of an issue when an issue occurs. Kind of hammer it out between the two of us and try and get it remedied as fast as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like there's always going to be what people need to know is when there are fixing like issues, there's something on, let's say, your side that has to work, and there's something on our side that has to work, and we have to communicate back behind the scenes. And a lot of times, anytime you integration, there's just a blame game, and I think it's important for people. While it's an uncomfortable situation, nobody ever wants to see that happen. But the idea is behind the scene, the dealer doesn't care. They just want to know we're working together to solve an issue. And that's the way we address it with any of our partners to fix an issue. So that's what we always look forward to.
Okay, great. So you mentioned healthcare earlier. Before we wrap up, I have to ask, healthcare or automotive? What's easier and what's more exciting?
Well, that's kind of interesting. I'm not saving lives in automotive, but I'd like to think I'm saving businesses. No, it's a little bit different. There's differences. I mean, it was fun. Healthcare, I did everything from being a pharmaceutical rep. That's how you typically get started, all the way up to being in surgery and doing implantable devices for Medtronic. And I saw some really cool things. Deep brain stimulations for Parkinson's, or neuro back surgery for patients with like back pain and things of that nature. Just saw some miracles.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'll just tell you is I think there's a lot of good similarities no matter what you go out there and represent. But I was always a patient advocate for 16 years in the medical industry. When I got in automotive, I had to transition that thought process of, okay, I'm not saving lives. How am I going to go out there and relate to this? And I'm a customer at heart, buying cars. So I took it from the aspect of what's the customer experience like. And so instead of thinking in terms of a patient advocate, I became a customer advocate and representing our company and talking on behalf of the customer, because if you study the customer's buying behavior, that's how we're helping our dealerships grow and talk much differently than, look, we're not a big fan of templates. We're not a big fan of making 100 phone calls and then those 50 emails. I mean, you're doing the task through the task mode. We're trying to get our customers to just talk back to customers. which is a huge problem in itself. And if we can do the right things to help be a better educator to our customers, then we're doing our dealers a service. So that's my parallel. They all have their, I have so much more fun in automotive, but I do miss seeing those miracles in the medical industry. And,
Yeah.
you just, and it touches you. I don't know how to really explain it until you see, what I've seen, somebody going from Parkinson's like this, they didn't want to leave the house because they're shaking so much to, holding a glass of water and not spilling it. It's just miracles. Some of the things I saw.
That's amazing. Well, I'm sure we won't ever do anything quite as amazing as that, but maybe in our partnership, we can still make some miracles happen in automotive.
Hey, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Well, as we close up here today, Steve, I would just want to thank you for your time. You're joining us here in our brand new offices in South Florida.
Very nice.
And one of the themes that we've put in place here, we named our conference rooms after some muscle cars, and we surveyed our team and came up with a couple of names that were most meaningful to them. So since we're both in the automotive industry, Steve, what's your favorite muscle car and why?
Well, it's got to be the one I own. No, I'll tell you what, my dream was to always own a Porsche. Okay. So, over all my years, I had a lot of different cars, but I finally hit my dream literally a year ago, and I got my first Porsche Macan GTS. So
Nice.
it's awesome. I mean, it is really true. Once you drive a Porsche, it's hard to go back. Like my wife drives a Nissan. I was a Nissan guy for the longest time, but now it's hard to get in a Nissan and feel the same experience as a Porsche. So yeah, I gotta tell you, I'm a Porsche guy now. But yeah, the GTS and the get up and go, the power.
All right. Well, I'm not going to bark at you. But
it's okay. That's my chin, the two-man thing.
We did go old school here with the Mustang, the Camaro, and the Charger. So,
well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, those are all good cars,
Nothing wrong with that. Well, again, Steve, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck to you and your team as you head into our industry event later this month in Dallas, which still seems strange to say, but best of luck and thank you for the partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. No, vice versa. We appreciate our relationship together. So let's continue to grow.
Sounds good. Thank you.